It's October the 23rd, 2024, and you know why you're here, so let's kick things off right and introduce the players. Hey, I'm Gerissar, a WoW esports aficionado.
Hey guys, it's Bigmoran, and I am the number one BM Hunter hater in all of WoW history. And today we're joined by someone who probably hates BM Hunters as well, an Affliction Warlock named Dirty. But Dirty, why don't you introduce yourself to the stream?
Hey guys, I'm Dirty. I've been playing WoW since the very beginning of time. I was 5 years old when I started playing, and I have taken very minimal breaks since. I've been doing arenas for, I'd say, about like 3-4 years consistently, maybe a little bit more. My first Glad was in WoD, so probably a little bit longer.
Cool.
Really bad at telling time. And yeah, I mean, I used to stream. I don't really stream anymore. Ended up having a family, ended up taking a lot of time, so I don't really have, anywhere you can check me out, but maybe
That's
one day
fine.
again.
Well, you want me to date you right there? WoD was 10 years ago, I
Oh
think.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there it is. I knew it was before my kids, and I for some reason said it was 3 years ago. My kids are 7, so
Time flies when you're having fun. So,
uh,
just out of curiosity, you're talking about your kids. Are they playing WoW with you? Or are you coaching them in? You gonna make
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. My wife, I've been trying to get my wife into it, and once I can crack the code on getting my wife into it, then I'll try and get the kids into it.
fair.
I've made characters for my wife. I've made accounts for my wife, but she's I don't know. She's more girly and doesn't really not into the nerdy stuff, I guess. Still
That's fair.
trying on that one.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Uh, the kids are definitely gamers. They love Fortnite. They love Minecraft and Roblox and all that. So eventually I'll get them into WoW. Eventually.
Nice. That's cool. And I think when we talked, I think you were third on the ladder for Affliction Locks. Is that still the
Yes.
case, or I know. Yeah, and we're gonna get into the news about yesterday and the patch and that,
Yeah.
and I know that was tumultuous for ladder play. But did you fall or did you climb?
So actually, the day, like an hour or two before you messaged me, I was actually number one on the ladder for Affliction Warlock, and
Oh,
um, didn't play for like a week because I live in Tampa.
okay.
So we
Yeah.
just got smacked by two huge
Yeah.
hurricanes. And so I wasn't able to play for a bit, and so I was holding that number one spot. I kept checking in on my phone, like, oh man, like, did someone pass me up? And an hour before you messaged me, someone actually did pass me up, so that was a
Yeah.
little sad. Yeah, I did play a few trying to take that back. I don't know, man. Ellie Shams are my bane in solo shuffle. I cannot.
Really.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me. I don't understand why. Like they're doing very minimal damage, but I just think it's the amount of disruption that they have.
Hmm.
I can't do what I want to do. Um, might
Yeah.
just
No.
be a me thing though.
No. I think that's pretty much anybody that runs into an elemental between the totems and their lava meatballs, and just yeah, it's a
Yeah,
lot. It's a lot.
it's the earth shocks, man. Like I don't
Yep.
know if you noticed, like these earth shocks, they be hitting for 2.3 million. It's like
Yep.
where did my health just go?
Hmm.
And sheer. I mean, it's a uh very short CD and very short
Hmm.
kick, but it's just like I don't know, something about it. I think I just might be too much in my head about it, but
Mm.
it's hard for me. It's hard.
Fair enough.
So right now I don't think. Well, last night for some reason I joined a shuffle, got a 6-0'd the lobby last night.
Wow.
Got out of the shuffle. It was a 2500 MMR lobby. I gained like 120 points from it. Got out of it.
Yep.
My points did not register. I got the
Yeah,
conquest. Uh, yeah, I got.
that's a common bug right now. It's really unfortunate. It's like you
Yeah,
literally don't gain rating.
I was very upset about that because I was with SSDS, I was with Magnus,
Yeah.
I was with all of these top line like of their classes. Actually pulled out the 6-0, and it didn't get any of it. It was really unfortunate,
That
but
is
it
frustrating.
happens. Yeah.
Oh, did theirs register? and not
No,
yours?
no, I went
Nobody's.
into all of their streams and asked like, "Hey, did you get rating?" And immediately they're all like, "Yeah, I got rating. What do you mean?" And then I was like, "Check." And they checked and they're like, "Well, I guess I didn't get rating."
Yeah.
So that was
Oh,
unfortunate.
that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I am sorry to hear that. I mean, I am sorry to hear about WoW. I'm sure you'll make the rating back. I hope
Oh yeah.
everything was fine with your house and your family through Tampa,
Yep.
and all that stuff. I'm glad you're okay there, because
Yeah, as I stated previously to you, I don't think to the viewers or anything. I
mm,
am military, so because I live on base, they paid for my evacuation. Military is great in
yep.
that sort of aspect. So, I anytime like we're evacuating for a hurricane, I always call it to my family like, "Oh, we're going on a hurricane." Like it's a all paid for. Like you get your hotel or your Airbnb, they pay for your food, they pay for your gas. You don't have to spend a cent, and you're just
Nice.
out in a different state. So it's pretty cool.
That's all
I
right.
called it. Yeah.
That's all
Mm.
right. Well, I'm glad that you have that. I live in Canada, and it's not like we really get hit by hurricanes, so I can't say we have
Yeah.
many hurricanes here. But that's really cool that you have that. I think we'll move on to the Need Greed Pass, though, and just do a little icebreaker and see what Big came up with for us this week.
This likely won't be a clean fight, so keep your distance, eh?
All right, Big. So what scenario are you posing for us this week for the 3 options to Need Greed and Pass on?
So there's obviously a few winners from the reworks that happened yesterday, and one spec that saw a pretty dramatic rework was Elemental Shaman. Got a buff to Ascendance. Got some other neat things. Damage profile shifted a bit. BM Hunters, of course, they also got a bit of a rework. And they are a bit bugged right now, but even outside of that bug, they were still buffed.
Yeah.
Supposedly accidentally, there was a kill command nerf that did not go through. Anyway, BM Hunters are apparently doing 20% more damage than they were previously, even without the bug. And then, even though they didn't get any changes, Shadow Priests have been doing really well in the past few weeks. So my question is, if you could choose between an Ellie Shaman, BM Hunter, or Shadow Priest and have them on your team, which one would you need? Which one would you greed? And which one would you pass?
I think that's a pretty good.
Do we get to pick the healer?
No, just the DPS.
Ah, okay.
That's DPS. Okay. Um, I think as a warlock player, the number one comp that comes to my mind as a warlock player is shadow play. So I'm gonna have to hit need on that shadow priest. With the amount of instant CC damage that they have now, I mean, sometimes they out damage me. It's kind of crazy the amount of damage they're able to pull through if they are good at their class. So definitely gonna hit need on that shadow priest. Probably going to be agreed on the Ellie Shaman. They just got a lust implemented, so it's kind of like another PI. Haste and Affliction Warlock definitely goes hand in hand together, so it's pretty nice. And I'll probably hit pass on that BM Hunter. I just really don't like BM Hunters. They completely nuke me, and then on top of that, like they'll just be randomly scattering off my dots and trapping off my dots, and yeah. Nah, so I'll probably need Shadow Priest, greed the Elemental Shaman, and then pass on the BM Hunter.
All right. Interesting.
I like it. Gerissar, what about you?
So I was actually gonna need on the elemental shaman, because if you can't beat them, make sure you have one on your team to kill them. So I thought that'd be a pretty interesting mix up as a warlock shaman. Maybe go not instead of affliction, go destro though, and then have the chaos bolts along with their earth shocks and just watch somebody disappear. And then I was going to greed on the BM Hunter, again thinking Warlock, and just imagine Demo, and imagine a Demo with all the Hunter pets, and just watch somebody cry with all the nameplates on their screen, because that happens. This is of course assuming that the enemy doesn't have a Mistweaver monk, but that's for a whole other story.
Win some
And
lag.
hmm?
Win from lag, all the pet names on your screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. If you can't win by damage, win by legging them out. And then I was gonna pass on the Shadow Priest. Old reliable for sure, but I have to pass on something after those two, so that's what I was gonna pick. But I'm also feeling a little trolly tonight, so that's why I'm picking those ones. Big. How about yourself? What were your
Yes.
choices?
So as a healer, I always like having a Shadow Priest on my team. It just kind of gives you a bunch of little safety nets, a lot of nice utility, and I think the nice thing about playing with the Shadow Priest is the game is like quite predictable. You kind of have these stun silence setups, and it kind of the game kind of plays itself when you have a Shadow Priest on your team. I'm gonna greed on Elemental Shaman. I like playing with LA Shamans in general, but again, they can kind of just take a lot of damage, and it's kind of annoying to just heal them through certain specs. And then I'm gonna pass on BM Hunter. Even though they are really good right now. It's there's like a meme about hunters in solo shuffle from like a healer point of view, where they just kind of sometimes run around doing nothing for no reason. Like they're almost always going to be the ranged DPS spec that is going to overextend for literally for no reason, and it's kind of frustrating to deal with that as a healer. So I'm going to pass on having a hunter.
Interesting. Just out of curiosity, is this you playing as a resto druid, or did you shift your main?
No, I played druid,
Okay,
Resto druid. Yeah.
just checking, just asking. All right. Well, as always, those who are listening at home can play along. So if you're on live right now, you can hop into the stream and type it in chat. Otherwise, hop over to Discord. We got the Twitter, we got the emails, you got all the things. Let us know what your choices are between Elemental Shaman, BM Hunter, and Shadow Priest, and maybe tell us why. In the meantime, we'll talk about the upcoming PvP events.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
Yeah, stop hiding, get in there and fight. So in case anybody hasn't been following, the official Blizzard esports, the AWC Cups have finished. The time trials for the Mythic Dungeon International have also finished. And upcoming this weekend, is it this weekend? No, it's next weekend. That's what I thought. They have a break. So starting the 1st of November, we will have Group A streaming, and then we'll have Group B on the 8th of November. Sometime unknown, not even sure if they're going to stream it or not. We'll have the China group, and then we'll be rolling into seeing the AWC Gauntlet and Grand Finals on the 15th to the 17th of November, finished by the MDI Global Finals on the 22nd of November. On top of that, there's a new event that they just announced. Well, I'm not sure if it's an event, but there's the WoW 30 Direct, so there's going to be something happening on the 13th of November as well. I'm not sure if they're going to have any PvP or anything there. I don't even know what the agenda is going to be for that. It looks like it's just going to be a celebration of 30 years of World of Warcraft, or 30 years of Warcraft on top of the 20 years of World of Warcraft. So that'll be interesting. I'm just kind of curious if there's anything out of all those events that you guys are looking forward to.
For me personally, I'm really excited to see the Gauntlet and the Grand Finals. The only thing that I've ever enjoyed doing or did all throughout my WoW career has been PvP. I remember being 6 years old, running around, being a level 15 Night Elf Hunter, and just dueling the level 60s, completely swagged out in all their gear. And so I just, the PvP is the only real thing that I actually enjoy watching and enjoy doing. So the Gauntlet and the Grand Finals, I'm really looking forward to seeing. It sucks that Liquid got knocked out and everything, but they're still a top 3 competitor. Definitely a Grand Final competitor as well.
Well,
So
they're going to be in
I'm
the
excited to
gauntlet.
see what happens. Yeah, they're number 4 right now. They actually, if the move lost to Welcome to the Jungle,
Yeah.
I think they actually would have still been top 3 even after not being in the tournament whatsoever. So like that alone should be like a huge like wow. Because Sea-Doo's been really upset lately because they didn't make the tournament. But like in my eyes, I'm like, dude, like you still almost made top 3 and you weren't even in this last tournament. So that should be an eye opener to how good like you guys are actually doing. So I'm excited to see what happens if his upsetness turns into motivation and they really start putting in the work and seeing what happens. I think that'll be really cool to watch.
Ditto. I'm actually looking forward to that as well. And you're not wrong. I mean, I think if anything, what that has shown is obviously points wise, they still are a top contender because they have the points, but it also speaks to just the quality, the caliber of all the competitors this cup.
Oh yeah.
And just like the struggle that it is for even a team like Liquid that are like, well, they've won the AWC.
I mean, they've won BlizzCon. Like they're literal, that exact team are BlizzCon champions. Like, and the fact that these other teams, I mean, F tier has been absolutely killing it. Saul Leros, Shaz, and Dorito. I mean, they're completely playing non-meta comps and just sticking to their main classes, and because they know them so well, they're actually doing really well. And like that's really fun for me to see as well. Just the fact that all of these teams are even remotely near Liquid to me is really cool, and seeing how the game's developing is awesome.
Yeah, I think competition on NA is. I definitely prefer watching the NA streams rather than the EU tournaments. I mean, nothing against EU, but it's like Echo is just so unbelievably dominant that it's like you kind of know the outcome of the tournament before it happens. Whereas in NA, it's like it's a complete coin flip on all these cups. Like I think we had like a different cup winner.
I think 3 out of the 4 cups, right?
Yeah, 3 out of the 4 cups, which is pretty nice. That's pretty unheard of. So yeah, I definitely think competition has gotten crazy, exponential over the years. At least on NA, yeah, and it's. I'm also a Sea-Doo fan. I always want Liquid to do well, so I'll be cheering for them in the gauntlet.
Absolutely.
And then hopefully they make it.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Gerissar, do you have a favorite?
Sorry, I just realized I forgot to tweet that we were live, so I just was like, I'm gonna hop over to X here while you guys are talking. Do I have a favorite? I'm a sucker for the underdog. Although they're not really an underdog this time, but F tier, they make me happy and smile when I see them kick butt and take names. So watching them over the past few years and just getting better and getting better and getting better. Really looking forward to it. Yeah.
I've had Dorito on my tag for a while, and seeing them like kind of rise up, because I mean they've been a team for years. Like Saul and Lero, or Saul, Leros, and Dorito. Anytime you think of Saul, you think of Dorito. Anytime you think of Dorito, you think of Saul. Like they've been hand in hand, and watching them like really just, I don't want to say take over, but kind of take over as the underdogs is really special.
Indeed. I think one of the ones I'm really looking forward to, and honestly, I'm going to sound like an idiot if they didn't make it, but Meat Monk.
No.
Yeah, they didn't make it.
Oh, okay.
Sad. Yeah. I actually played with Meat Monk when he like was brand new to the game, and
nice.
I actually kind of kick myself in the back sometimes because him and I was like, oh, I don't want to play with this guy. He sucks. And now look at him, like multi-ranked 1, and good for him. I wish all the best for him, but it kind of, shot myself in the leg with that one, because him and I used to play a lot together. We played MLG a lot.
MLG, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, if anybody is interested, obviously we can watch all of that stuff over on YouTube and Twitch for the main Warcraft channels. And if anybody's interested, we are going to host our own Solo Shuffle tournament on the 23rd of November. So that's going to be over on Matcherino. And, the signups and everything is over on Matcherino, and then we're going to be broadcasting that on the Technically PvP Twitch channel. So don't forget to go over there and sign up. And if you don't want to play, but want to help contribute to the prize pool, donations are open. There's quests that you can do to add to the prize pool. And if you don't want to just give cash, but you want to have something back, there's some merchandise that's available through the website that you can buy. And we get a little bit of a drop into the prize pool for that as well. All right. In the meantime, let's get into the real reason why Dirty's here with the subject of analysis, and we're going to pick his brain about Affliction Warlocks.
I'm going to light you up, sweet cheeks.
There we go. So, Dirty, Affliction Warlocks. We have not had an Affliction Lock on the show for 2 expansions now.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a while. So I think, not trying to compare it at all, but just currently in the War Within, Affliction Warlock sounds like it's pretty good. Like we've seen them in AWC, we're seeing them top ladder, all across all the ladders we're seeing them. What's the gameplay like? How are they playing right now? Because I don't think they're just dot and then run, are they?
No, I wouldn't say that whatsoever. I think that there are very niche moments where if you can catch someone in a good CS while you have Haunt up, because you have a lot of burst potential on Affliction Warlock. It is a lot of dot and try and run until you have coil, and you create distance with Soul Rot, and then the Malefic Rapture spam, because it's a lot of spread pressure while also having a lot of instant burst on one target. There's been times where I've hit 1.8 million haunts into a 1.3 million Shadow Bolt combo and just completely obliterate someone, and it's yeah, I guess Affliction Warlocks can do that now.
And you were complaining about Urshock earlier.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Ellie Shams, they have this talent where they have a 25% chance of refunding their Maelstrom, and they can literally there's sometimes where you just hear the Urshock animation 6 times, and it's like, oh my god, I'm getting blasted right now. But yeah, I mean, Affliction Warlock. So funny thing is, I played for the majority of my time. I played a shaman.
Really?
Yeah, for a majority of the time. I played Resto,
Okay.
and I also played Ellie. Ellie, I almost got rank 1 in on my first season ever playing it, season 1 Shadowlands. No, I did not play that stupid Vesper totem thing. But that was so I played Ellie, and then after Ellie is when I actually got into Warlock. Season 2 of Shadowlands is when I actually started playing, and when I started playing, I actually started off as Demo.
Okay.
After playing some Demo, I got a little bit into Destro. All right, well now fast forward over to Dragonflight. Now I'm playing a little bit of Affliction. Affliction's really good, so I'm playing Affliction. So some people could call me a Fodom. Oh, you're Fodom rerolling, but I'm still playing Warlock. I just play all different variants of Warlock. The other night I was playing with Max Villa. I was playing played some Destro MLD, played some Demo MLD, and played some AF MLD. AF was definitely a much better variant, but just because I don't know, the spread pressure and the max burst that you can have, because it's kind of like that Elisham thing where they just get the aftershock proc where you just get Shadow Bolt after Shadow Bolt after Shadow Bolt proc, and it's a great thing. And if you see that you have one Nightfall proc, and because whenever you press Haunt, you get an instant cast Nightfall. So if you have one Nightfall and you press Haunt, then you have 2 Shadow Bolts back to back. So that combo could be 3.5 to 4 million damage. It's actually ridiculous damage. But yeah,
I love it.
Forgot them. Yeah.
No, it's fine. I love it. It sounds like they are a lot of fun. I enjoy playing it.
They're fun until you play against like a Fury Warrior.
I
Fury
was just
Warriors.
gonna say.
Oh my goodness, man!
I
Like,
can't get
'cause
away.
I can't get away, man. I
No.
can't. And like, not only that, but like you can't just sit there and tank them. Like
Nope.
because if you do, then they just have perma 40% MS on you,
Yeah.
and it's like you can't like you have to always be moving. So like whenever I play against a Thunder, that's the comp that I absolutely despise the most. I can't get any good damage off, and I can't just sit still. I can't sit still, and I can't live. It's very difficult. The only yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I can miss right with you on that. And I play like super low ladder solo shuffle, so like there's no help from my team. I'm just like
Yeah.
crying. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's
It's rough.
big. Have you
Mhm.
have you ever actually played Warlock just to like test it or anything like that, and just to get a feel for it, or?
I have played I played Warlock a little bit in Miss Pandaria. I mostly did RBGs though on Warlock. And then I played a little bit in BFA, but I was playing Destro. So it's been a while since I played Warlock. I think I mean, it looks really fun right now because a lot of the damage profile, as Dirty said, has been kind of shifted into burst.
Mhm.
And I think now, I mean, we'll get to this later. You don't play Rampant Afflictions anymore, so you just kind of single
No.
target
Yeah,
pump someone.
single UA.
Yeah, and so it's to me, I mean, Warlock. This expansion reminds me a lot of like Cataclysm.
Yeah, I actually just I think secured my gladiator on Cataclysm on my Affliction Warlock on uh classic
Oh,
Cata.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Congrats.
been. Thank you. I only play the first season of each of the classics. So season 1 of Wrath, I got Gladiator on my Elisham, and then season 1 of Kata, I got Gladiator. I think Gladiator on my Warlock. So
I think it's really cool right now to be a Warlock because you have, I mean, two really good comps with Rogue, Warlock, and then Shadowplay. I think obviously like Echo on EU has done really well with Rogue Lock, and it's just the Rogue just enables the Warlock so well in that comp, and
yeah,
it's pretty crazy to watch how quickly that comp can like initiate pressure just like with a
yeah,
single, if the Warlock's allowed to cast for 4 seconds, it's just that
it's
someone will like die. It's pretty
yeah.
crazy.
It is, because I mean, so it's it's actually funny because you have Haunt that gives you Nightfall, and then Nightfall, the Shadow Bolts give you instant cast Malefic Raptures. So if you get a combo where you get your Soul Rot, which increases your Malefic Rapture damage by a lot, and then you get a Haunt off with your Phantom Singularity, which increases the damage taken by anyone that gets hit by it, which is a cone of damage, by 15%. If you, like you said, can free cast for 3 to 4 seconds, you're gonna be doing a full health bar or more. It's almost a guarantee. Um, I actually have not played either one of those comps this season. Which yeah, I've been trying to like stick with like one team because I want that rank 1 title, man. I really do. I'm trying so hard to get it. I've been playing Feral Lock H Pal.
Oh yeah.
And
Interesting.
we've before the MMR changes, we've peaked at 2370 this season. And after last night, bro, I wish we just stopped after the second BM Hunter, but we kept thinking like, oh, this is the new meta. We got to adapt. We got to adapt. No, we shouldn't have. I didn't realize it was a bug. We went down to 2210 or something like that. So we lost quite a bit of
Oh.
points last night. My Feral's pretty pissed, and
Yep.
uh, but it's still kind of early in the season. I know we can get it back.
I don't want to say, be wrong here, but apparently I heard that possibly the BM Hunter bug has been fixed like an hour ago or
No.
so.
Yeah, so I heard I last night right before I was logging off, they did like a little hot fix, but in order for that hot fix to work, BM Hunters had to log off. So, because like I log because I I'm a nerd, all right. I have 12 level 80s. I have 2 warlocks, 2 Ellies, a shadow priest, a mage. I have literally pretty much everything except for a dragon. Um, and I logged into my BM Hunter after that hotfix. I'm like, man, I want to BOP. Like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I playing my warlock right now? I logged in, and what was it, Phantom Pain or something like that?
Yeah.
Didn't do anything. I'm like, they did fix it, so that's good, but it's still like I think they, in my
The
opinion, they should
damage has
revert.
already been done.
Yeah, the damage has been done. They should revert rating back to yesterday, in my opinion.
Well, that's why I think they paused rating games, like, where people weren't gaining rating. Maybe they're doing something under the hood where, like, you didn't get your points after winning, and maybe you'll get those points like after the fact. Like maybe they just did that to sort of adjust all these
Yeah.
cheaters.
I'm hoping. I actually I tuned into Magnus last night after I was about to log off, and they were griefing the BM Hunter. They told him to like log off and reset his class, and then maybe people will start letting him win. But anyone that had the BM Hunter, they all just sat in the starting room and let the BM Hunter try and 1v3. So I
That's
respect
funny.
for that. Respect for that.
Well, it's so funny to me. I was thinking about this today. Like, people always exploit bugs, right? I mean, if there's a bug, someone will exploit it. But it's always crazy to me when there's such an obvious bug and people exploit the obvious bug thinking they're going to get away with it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, Gerissar, have you seen what we're talking about? Like these BM Hunter one shots?
No, I
Literally, I'm not exaggerating. It's like this hero talent was causing I'm not even joking, like 1,000 procs of this thing that did like, I don't know. Yeah, 1,000 procs of this thing per second. So BM Hunters were
like
literally
30K.
Yeah, so they would literally just press something and then someone's health would go from 100% to 0 in like
and
0.1 seconds.
Probably some massive overkill as well.
Yeah, it's like you're
if you look at your death log or your combat log, it's like literally, if you look at the amount of times it hit you in an arena, it literally says like 4,000 and the game will be like 30 seconds long. It's like, how the fuck did something hit me 4,000 times? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It
clearly
just
yeah.
so clearly exploiting.
And what's funny to me too is I played immediately as the service came up yesterday. I got into a lobby actually with Laros on his hunter, and he wasn't doing the exploit, but he was still doing crazy amounts of damage. Like,
Yeah.
And I was like, these hunters don't even need to be doing this. They could probably win.
Well, and you were talking about that off camera there. There's that whole thing about they got the buff, but what was it, the kill command nerf didn't go through, which was supposed to be the balance out, and that didn't happen. So
last night after they did that hotfix, I tuned in a channel and he was on Des V Times. He was on his hunter, literally called Des V Times, and he didn't have the bug. It was after the hotfix. He logged in after the hotfix. He didn't have the bug or anything like that. He was still doing 850k damage DPS. He's still cranking. Yeah, he's still cranking. So like, you didn't even need to exploit in order to win. But like, when I log in and I queue up for an arena and you're playing double BM Hunter, triple BM Hunter, you're clearly just trying to exploit. And I think that I'm not going to sound too biased here, not trying to, but I honestly think if you're purposely doing it, like to that extent, and you're now at the top of the ladder because of that exploit, one, you should get your rating redacted, and two, maybe get a 3-day suspension or something. That's my opinion. Like,
I don't disagree. I think people trying to push the easy button, and I think chat said it perfectly. There's always going to be the exploiter. They gamble between the ban and the success, and so I think some people don't care. Like, they don't. There's a number of people that play World of Warcraft, an MMORPG, as literally a solo player, and they are selfish and they don't care about anybody else. Their only thing they want to do is get themselves that dopamine hit. They want to get that rating, and they consider everybody else, even their teammates, especially in Shuffle and that, as literally the enemy until they prove themselves. And yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, it again, it's all walks of life in this game. It is literally that. So it's tough.
They just want to make themselves happy at the expense of however many people they queue into.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's no different than real life. There's people out there that they want to succeed, and they don't care who they walk over and who they steal from to make money, right? Or to find that success they want.
That's very good point.
I want to ask though, if we're going to talk about success, I think one of the cornerstones to being successful as a warlock starts with the talent trees. What's to you? What are the important talents in the warlock and the affliction tree? Like what are the things that really make it stand out and make it tick?
I think that the oh man, you're gonna make me think of all of these talents off the top of my head. So let's start with
You can pull up
PvP
the
talents.
game if you want, or pull up something.
Yeah, I can. I probably will. But yeah, I think that one of the so let's start with PvP talents.
Okay.
I think 100% of the time, almost 100% of the time, I should say, you want to play Rotten Decay. Rotten Decay increases the duration of your UA, your corruption, and your agony, I believe, by 2 seconds each time you press Shadow Bolt on someone, and you always have Shadow Bolts. Like, you will always have Shadow Bolts. So that's it. That's making Warlock less global intensive right there. Because, like, everyone knows that for the longest time, Affliction Warlock is one of the more global intensive casters, especially with having it. That's why they put in Jinx, which is 100% guarantee. You need to have that talent.
Yep.
Jinx, it's one button applying a curse, which is very good for utility. Your agony and your corruption, which are very good damage dealers, but it won't start ramping until you actually get a soul rot and start getting your malefic rapture spam up. So I think that Jinx and Rotten Decay are two very important talents. And then your third is more of a defensive choice.
Okay.
So if you're playing a melee heavy comp, play short port. If you're playing a caster oriented comp, like Demo Shadow play, maybe not reflect, because there's nothing to really reflect. You might reflect a vampiric touch or a shadow word pain. But the main reason that I play Reflect is first, like, another warlock or another a mage or a shaman or someone that I can press an ability, be able to free cast and get a good burst window in it. I don't really play it defensively. I really should. And sometimes there are opportunities where I can use it defensively. Like, oh, this guy is at the very end of casting his Chaos Bolt cast, and I have a haunt. So if I reflect, I can get the Chaos Bolt and then also get my haunt off. So now both of those are hitting him at the same exact time, and now it's doing a massive amount of damage. But if you're playing like I immediately got invited by someone. The millisecond I logged in.
Tell him you can't. You're
Brain.
too busy doing a podcast.
Yeah, doing a podcast.
So when you're talking reflect, you're talking about Netherward, right?
Yes. So Jinx, Jinx is 100% guaranteed. Never take that off. And also, in the same aspect, never play Rampant Afflictions. It's good if you're. It's decent, I guess. But you lose so much damage. You can have 3 UAs up on people, sure. It helps with, not cleaning up dots and everything. Like, if you're playing with a Shadow Priest, maybe play it. Maybe. But 60% reduced damage on your UA, like, that's a lot of damage reduced. So for PvP talents, definitely don't play that. Essence Drain, you're never going to be playing Drain Life. You're never going to press that, ever. If you're pressing Drain Life, you're doing something wrong. Gateway Mastery, very good from niche comps.
Mhm.
I like to play it into Draco Cleave, which is Meat Monk's comp, the Frosty K Dragon Mistweaver.
Yeah.
Being able to have a gate that's on a 1 minute CD, which just so happens to coincide with the amount of time it takes for them to do a go, and also increasing the range by 20 yards where they can't grip you away. It's
Mhm.
super nice to have. So that's good for niche uh, comps to play against. And sometimes if I'm playing against like an RMP or an FMP, I will drop Rotten Decay as an offensive option and use Impish Instincts and Netherward, because if all of a sudden I have the Pharaoh and a Coil and I need to be able to cast to be able to peel for my teammates, now the mage can't spell steal me and steal it. So
Mm.
those are the three to four talents that I'll play around with.
Okay.
Actually, there's one more, Call Observer. That's the only time you ever play Call Observer as an Affliction Lock is I would say versus Demo Shadow play, because you don't have anything that you're gonna really be able to reflect, and you're not gonna have any, and they struggle with on demand high amount of damage to be able to kill your Call Observer. So it's pretty good to play into a Demo Shadow play, I would say. Um, so I'd say that's probably it for PvP talents.
Okay.
Um,
So you don't play Soul Swap?
I never play Soul Swap. No,
Okay.
I don't
And
think there's any need for it.
okay, no, fair. I mean, I think it's one of those toss-ups between Rotten Decay, um, versus Soul Swap. Obviously, like doing it.
Yeah.
I can
So
see it
like
either way, but
it, if you were playing Rampant Afflictions, or if Blizzard just gave you triple UA back, which would be way too good, I guess. I could see Soul Swap being viable, but
Mhm.
the only thing that you're gonna wanna like Soul Swap is your Phantom Singularity and your Soul Rot.
Mhm.
Um, and if you have a UA on that target and you want that UA to stay on that target and you Soul Swap to
Yeah.
another target, it's like, I don't know. It just seems too much work, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Like, and not only that, but like whatever um shards you have, you don't want to be using it on Soul Swap. You want to be using it on Malefic Rapture, because Malefic
True.
Rapture is on a completely different school.
Mhm.
And if you get kicked on Shadow, well, guess what? Now you can completely start melting the entire team. Like I'm to a point where I think that, like, if I laugh at people that kick me on Shadow, like, haha, like now I get to melt your entire team, especially if I have Soul Rot up, because if I
Mhm.
have Soul Rot, get a buff called Malign Omen, which increases the Malefic Rapture damage by 20% and extends the duration of your damage over time effects and haunt by 2 seconds. So you press Soul Rot, now your Malefic Rapture is doing 20% increased damage. But wait, there's more. You also, where is it? It's there is another variable that when you press your Soul Rot, it increases the damage of your Soul Rot. Where is it? Succulent Succulent Soul. So Succulent Soul is
That's a
right.
talent.
Believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and your Soul Harvester for your
Okay.
hero talents. So Succulent Soul empowers your next Malefic Rapture, increasing its damage by 20% and unleashing your demonic soul to deal an additional 125k. So let's, for instance, oh, okay, all of my games from last night got wiped, so that's cool. But if you press Soul Rot and you press your Malefic Rapture,
Mhm.
you will see if you get your triple Malefic Rapture off after your Soul Rot, you will see everyone on that enemy team that's in your line at 50% health guaranteed. It is such a powerful combination that I think that's why, like, that got nerfed the most when they nerfed Soul Harvester. I don't know if you remember, like, those 25 to 30% nerfs
Yeah.
on from the hero talents 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Oh, yeah, it was like 3 weeks ago, I think. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. Um, they're still super powerful because your Malefic Rapture will be hitting for like 750k, and then on top of that, your Succulent Soul is going to be hitting for another 400k. So your each Malefic Rapture that you get is technically going to be doing about like 1.1 to 1.2 million. Like, let's see if I can get a good combo off real quick, and just have a baseline for the amount of damage because it's genuinely
This
a
is
lot.
live radio, folks. We are testing right now to verify the data. This is awesome. This is crazy though. Like, so if I understand correctly, run in. You're going to curse one, curse the other. You have Rotten Decay, so that puts up all your dots. Run around a bit. Hopefully, somebody's trying to chase you. You're able to stay away. Obviously, you have your portals down because you had to do that right away as well.
Yep.
Probably shard, instacast portal, drop your teleport, and then
Gateway,
dot run, and then try to get to a position. Do you wait for a stun go, or do you just say I'm going to push that? I'm going to push damage. Hold your butts, guys, and you just like Soul Rot Malefic Soul Rot Malefic Rapture, and watch people die.
So I play with a Pharaoh, so it's kind of like during Incarn, it's kind of like a sub rogue you're playing with in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So my typical rotation when I go in the opener, I don't really like only in the opener. I like to press exhaust on everything. Immediately slow down the game. Immediately make it so if they want to push in for CC, they're slower. If they want to push in to hit me, they're slower. Because when I port, I have a freedom, right?
Yep.
So if they're slowed and I'm not, and I can create even more distance, it's super good for me. So my first few globals are Curse of Exhaustion and getting dots up on all three. From there, the pre-established target that we have in the gates is obviously who we're going to be going for. I'll be trying to get my UA up, and I will immediately I'll get my UA, Soul Rot, Phantom Singularity. I will press Haunt into Dark Glare and then start pressing my Shadow Bolts. The reason I press Haunt into Dark Glare is because you have Malevolent Visionary, which looking at the damage breakdown that I just had, anytime that you press your Dark Glare, whoever has dots on them immediately takes a chunk of damage once you place your Dark Glare. I'll read it for you. Increases the damage of your Dark Glare by 70%. When Dark Glare extends damage over time effects, it also sears affected targets for 514k. So it says it's 514k, but I'm looking at it right now, and it hit. Where is it? Right here.
Drum roll.
It hit for a crit for 1.3 million, and then two others for 800k. So you press your Haunt, which averages. Let's see. I mean, I don't see Haunt in my. Oh, there it is. Yeah, my Haunt did 900.
Sorry, this is on a dummy, right?
These are on the PvP dummies.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. So
All my games got wiped for some reason from
No worries.
last night, so I can't give you an like. This is pretty accurate. Like I always test damage on dummies, like trying to work around on builds. One thing my friends will say is if there's a build, Dirty knows it, because I will sit here if I'm in a solo shuffle, I'm trying to work out new builds. I'm trying to see what's the next best thing. Like I said, I'm trying. I'm trying to get motivated. I'm trying to like get this rank 1 title that's been avoiding me.
Awesome.
It's so
No, I
I'm
just want to
really
make sure.
trying.
I just want to make sure if somebody's listening and they're like, did he just hit somebody? Like, did he just duel somebody, or is this like a dummy? So okay.
Yeah,
so
these are these are dummies. Which all of these numbers look pretty accurate to a game.
Cool.
After looking at it, they look pretty accurate. So in that combo, my Haunt did 950k normal hit, into an immediate Malevolent Visionary. I don't know exactly which one hit for that, but we'll just say the 800k one because there was two 800ks. So that is 1.7 million immediately hitting just like that. So you're getting all of your dots extended on top of now you're getting a Haunt into a Malevolent Visionary, extending all of the dots that you have up, and then now you're also being able to Shadow Bolt spam. And then my Malefic Raptures I got a crit for 1.3 million, normal hit for 800k, and my average for hits was 720k. I pressed it 4 times, 720k, and my average crit was 1.3 million, which was the one time. So that was
That's a chunk of
and
damage. That's
yeah, it's
yeah.
a good chunk. I mean, I bursted for about 9 seconds and I did about 22 million damage on 3 targets. So it's pretty good. The combos like because the thing about Warlock is trying to get everything to land at the same time,
Mhm.
right? Because with destruction when you had uh because you have instant incinerate procs. When incinerate was actually doing a good chunk of damage, like in
Mhm.
Dragonflight and in Shadowlands, you'd try and you'd have an instant cast incinerate, you'd cast Chaos Bolt, so you'd have a Chaos Bolt in the air with an incinerate in the air, and then you're spamming Shadow Burn, so everything's hitting at the same time, and that's what kind of gives you those one-shot moments, and that's kind of what I look for in a way, I guess. Um, because besides that, I try to get like regular damage off. Like if I don't have damage, I'm kiting around and I'm just doing what I need to do as a warlock to stay alive and to do damage.
Mhm.
And then just kind of looking for those opportunities to combo someone.
Yeah, and for those of you out there wondering why PvPers typically don't use those rotational helper add-ons, it's because sometimes you want your damage to sort of sync at the same time, and a damage rotation add-on is just going to tell you to use things sort of like a bot. Whereas it's really cool when you can abuse spell times or spell
Travel times.
travel times. Yeah, it's always really fun. I mean, like we. I think Ellie Shamans and TBC were doing this with their,
Lava
lava.
burst, chain lightning.
Yeah. Wathleshka, yeah. So it's always fun to find these little combos. And right now, like the Affliction Warlock has a combo like this, right? With Haunt
Yeah,
Shadow Bolt,
yeah.
and hit at the same time and do a lot of damage. Really fun.
And
Um,
the best feeling is when because there's if you are casting Shadow Bolt, it procs your Malefic Rapture to be an instant cast.
mhm.
And so the best is when you get like the Haunt into a Shadow Bolt, and then that Shadow Bolt procs a Malefic Rapture. So that's even more instantaneous damage hitting all at the same time. I've gotten more like 50 to O's that way than I think I ever have. It's a great feeling.
One thing we want to talk about are hero talents because it's the classic or the system that was released this expansion. Now, what's interesting is looking at Hellcaller. This seems to align with the more traditional
Rot
rot
phase.
style play
Yeah.
style, whereas Soul Harvester is more single target oriented. Can you
Mhm.
just like walk us through maybe why Hellcaller isn't preferred right now and why Soul Harvester seems to be a bit meta?
So in my personal belief, I believe that Hellcaller is a little too slow. If you can get ramped up, it's kind of hard for teams to catch up. But the thing is that wither that you get, it's just a corruption. It's not like it's a curse where like it's hard to dispel, or if you're not talented into it, or if you're an H-Pal, you can't, dispel it. Everyone can dispel it. And so if you're playing Hellcaller and someone has a lot of stacks, okay, I'm gonna dispel that one real quick. And it's just it's easier to play around, um, uh, as a healer on the enemy team with a Hellcaller Warlock than it is to play around a Warlock that could potentially one shot your team and 50 to 0 in a setup, you know. Um, so I think that that's kind of it. Not only that, but you have a talent in Soul Harvester, and that I genuinely don't think that when I play Destro, I feel so squishy, simply because of this talent. Dark Pack now shields you for an additional 50% of the sacrifice health. That right there is insane. Your shields, if you get like if you low and you soul burn health stone a cookie now and you have 20% increased health, and then also are topped, and you go ahead and sack Dark Pact, you're gonna have like a 5 million shield on you. You won't have that if you play Hellcaller. So Hellcaller is one, less tanky, two, less bursty, because all of the talents that you play with in Soul Harvester increase the damage of your Shadow Bolt, your Haunt, and your Malefic Rapture, while Soul Harvester kind of just gives you more of that rot based, I guess. Because I mean, with Malevolence increasing your haste, like that, I was really excited to play Hellcaller. Like Hellcaller Destro, oh my god, I was so excited because Malevolence, it felt like, oh wow, you actually have an increase to your haste, and it feels kind of like a demonic soul, you know what I mean, like demon soul. And so I was really excited to play with that, and but I just feel so squishy in comparison. It doesn't feel that great. Um, and then like I said, like if you see like as a healer, the best way to counter Hellcaller, if you see a wither stack high and it's starting to go down, just dispel it. If you just dispel it, especially while it's starting to go down, they lose so much damage. It's actually ridiculous because I was doing some tests with my buddy. Like I said, like I like to find out like good builds and all of that. And if you don't know how to play around it, yeah, it can probably be really overwhelming for you as a healer. But
Mm.
if you just start dispelling, especially if you're playing single UA, like it's not really, I don't know, it can't really get any momentum with
Would
it, I guess.
would it be fair to say that Soul Harvester would be more the arena hero talent, and Hellcaller would be more RPGs to get that large
Ooh,
ramp spread pressure?
well, one second. What?
Anyway, I'm just kind of wondering. I think that might be.
Yes, give me a second, baby girl. I'm in the middle of something. Sorry.
No worries.
I apologize. My daughter, she's so excited for her new tablet. But yeah, I mean, I haven't. I the only times I've ever done RBGs
Mhm.
was to gear up and all. And besides that, I'm trying to get into threes. Like
Yeah,
I'm
you're
always looking
very
for
focused
threes.
on arena, which is fine.
Yeah, so I honestly would not be the guy to be able to tell you that. Sadly,
Mhm.
I do apologize.
No worries.
Um,
Just kind
but
of spitballing some theory crafting out there.
yeah,
Wondering if
yeah, of
maybe
course.
that
I
like
could
one is good for this and the other one's good for that. Maybe.
Well, I could see it being good in RBG, like either one being good in RBGs. Like if you have a really good like rot comp with like a boomkin, fire mage,
Mhm.
shadow priest and all
Mhm.
that, absolutely I think Hellcaller could be, the bee's knees for you. But if you're playing more of like a Frosty K, Fury Warrior, Windwalker Monk, like things
Mhm.
where they're trying to hit those healers and they're trying to hit them hard, I would probably say that the other one is
Soul
better.
Harvester.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Soul Harvester is better. Simply because like you can pair it up with a fat haunt Shadow Bolt combo that's hitting for like 3 mil, possibly. On the low end, on the low end it's guaranteed to do like 1.5 mil. But on the high end, it could definitely do about 3 mil. So I think that everything is kind of comp based, right? Like if you're playing
Yeah.
um whatever in RPGs, I think that one could be the better.
Cool. I appreciate that. I think that's one thing. Like, obviously, RPGs or BGs themselves are ultimately a larger team, so there's definitely some different comps there. But ultimately, yeah, you do get broken down to almost like a couple little 3v3 skirms or something like that. So
Yeah.
it gets kind of weird that way, where sometimes what works in the arena works in RPGs, and sometimes it's the
Yeah,
opposite.
according to Murloc, at least, it looks like in BG Blitz, people are still playing Soul Harvester
Yeah.
overwhelmingly.
I could see that pretty hard actually. Because like I said, you have the Malefic Rapture. Like
Yeah.
if you can get like Corruption Agony, Corruption Agony, Corruption Agony, Corruption Agony, Soul Rot,
Mhm.
like I said, those Malefic Raptures, if you get all three of them off, because they both stack up to 3.
Yeah.
If you get all 3 of those, all of those people that have those dots on them are going to be about 50% health. So it's just like, it's. I think I definitely could see that being the play. On top of the burst that it has single target.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably just Curse of Agony a bunch and then drop a Seed of Corruption, pop that, watch everybody get with her, and then Soul Harvest and rot the team. Just
with Soul Harvest, you said?
well, yeah, but do a Seed of Corruption. So
Yeah,
pop
yeah.
a seed, and then boom,
Pop a seed,
everybody gets
absolutely.
withered, and then
Yeah. And
But
then
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, you could also play. Yeah, I mean, the only
all things.
AOE
It's all
farming
things.
I ever did on Warlock was when I was on leveling for TBC. I was
No, I was doing that when I was running around leveling my Warlock for War Within. I'd pull a bunch, pull the blueberry, pull in a bunch of ads with agony, drop a seed. By the time I'd have an instant Shadow Bolt proc, pop that, and then everybody would get with her, and then it would just bleh. So
yeah.
I'd be lucky if I get I'd be lucky if I get a Malefic off. So, anyways, that's PV, so that's different.
I was
We're-
I was actually really upset that they because I was excited to play Destro coming into the War Within. I'm not gonna
Really?
lie. Yeah, I was. I got the early access and was doing the was playing solo shuffle as Destro. I have a screenshot somewhere. I did in a 6-round solo shuffle, which I would think I was like 2100 MMR, which was around the top of whoever was playing at the time. I did 580 million damage to the next one being 230 million damage. It was Wither Destro was completely busted. And they nerfed it even before it got launched, and it was like 3 days before launch, and I was like, no. So I ended up actually leveling an Ellie for my first tune coming into
Yeah,
the War Within.
it's funny because Wither Destro, it kind of felt more like an Affliction Warlock than
It
an Affliction
did.
Warlock.
Yeah, it actually did. You press Malevolence, and you just see everyone's health just. Woo. I was like, I like that. Yeah, no, Wither Destro definitely felt a lot more rowdy than Aff. I was out damaging Afflocks all the time, and so that's why I was excited. But I do like the current version of Warlock. I actually didn't like the Drain Life spec in Dragonflight at all. I hated it. It was dog shit to me. Pardon my language. I absolutely hated it, and so I tried to stay away from Aff as much as possible. Ended up not playing at all in season. I played a little bit. I played Boomkin in season 4 Dragonflight. I like to. I play a lot of different classes.
It's fine.
And when I quit in season 4, I was actually playing Kata. I was playing with Burnex and Dizzle, and we played Mage Lock, Arsham, and that made me fall in love with Warlock, with Aff. That version of Warlock, having the haunt and having like all of these big dots like ticking everywhere, and you just see everyone like everyone's health like draining, and then coming into the War Within, seeing Afflock in the kind of the same state as in Kata Classic. I was very happy to see it. I was definitely very happy to see it.
I like it. Big.
Yeah, so obviously one thing that's been continuous throughout the past few expansions are tier sets. Looks like Warlocks have their 2 and 4 set being centered around Malefic Rapture. I'm just gonna go ahead and guess that they're probably pretty good. But just to verify, are you wearing 4 set this season?
I am wearing 4 set. Like I said, I have 2 Warlocks. For a while I was trying to no tier whatsoever on my alt Warlock. But 4 set feels so good. I as soon as I got into my fourth set, I immediately noticed a huge damage increase. Definitely play fourth set, and if I were you, I'm currently running shoulders, chest, hands, and legs. So the headpiece is kind of meh, being crit mastery,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of that, like, what is your haste priority right now for Affliction Warlock?
I'm so anything that I can with get. So, all right. I want as much haste as possible, but I also like feeling tanky because you can't kill if you're dead, right? So that's kind of like my thought process. Like the tanky I am, the better. So initially, I had the double crafted haste ring for more haste and less verse. But I ended up swapping to both one of my rings and my neck to the conquest vendor
Yeah.
um ring and neck. So currently, I think it feels very smooth. Well, once I get my night elf proc later tonight, um, I'll have a little bit more haste. But currently, I'm at 27% haste and 27% verse, so it's pretty even. Um, Obviously, like your soft cap starts at 30%, so we haven't quite reached there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, trying to aim for that as fast as possible.
It's pretty
Um,
crazy how much haste we have so far in season 1.
I agree.
Yeah.
Especially like my haunt is casting at 0.8 seconds, so it's a pretty fast cast.
Holy
Yep.
crap.
Yeah, I
And
think maybe by season 3, people are going to be running around with like, I don't know, 45% haste. Like it's going to be
probably,
pretty crazy.
I mean, it kind of was like that in season 3 of Dragonflight. I remember,
Yeah.
um, it and it felt really nice. But it also made Boomkin completely OP, and so I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that isn't the case anymore. Uh,
I'm
it's
curious what the health pools are going to be by season 3, because
I am
Yeah.
too.
yeah, it's going to be pretty
I
crazy.
am. It
3
is.
million.
I mean, Dragonflight started off pretty low and ended up like pretty high.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious as well. Uh,
Yeah, people are what, like 7 million now? So maybe it'll go
yeah,
up to like 10 million.
I
Uh,
mean, as an Afflock right now, unbuffed except for like my own buffs, I'm at 8.2 million right now.
pretty
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
and
I
it's
would be surprised. Yeah.
I think we could use a stat squish again.
Yeah, it's time.
I
yeah,
always feel weird when numbers are this big. You know, I think the sweet spot are like the 100,000s are like a
Ditto.
good sweet
yeah,
spot for stats
I
or for
agree.
health.
Yeah.
I
I will say though, when you're casting like a like high damaging ability and you see like 2 million and you're like, ah, yeah. Like that's a pretty big dopamine rush. But
That's
I
true.
do agree. I think that this stat squish would probably be overall better.
And
I think.
then yeah.
Sorry, I just want to go back quickly on the gear, just because you kind of hit on the crafted stuff. Is there any
Mm.
special crafteds you have, like anything with
Um, so I don't know if I'd take this back. I really don't, because I actually really like it. But I think like in the long run, I think it's gonna be worth it. But for the very first week when I got those like little tokens of merit or whatever, and you can like craft pieces in the crafting, the very first thing I crafted was my dagger. I crafted a dagger with the Ascendant. Um, Having 890 random secondary stat is pretty big, I would say, right? But if you pair it with the other um, crafted piece that I'm currently running, which is I forget what it's called, but it doubles the effect of your embellished item. So it's no longer 890, it's 1,780. So I think that's actually pretty big in comparison because like right now with my haste, if I were to get an extra 2,000 haste, like that would be insane, right? 2,000 extra mastery, making my dots tick harder, or my Malefic Rapture hitting harder, or my Soul Rot ticking, more. It's random. It always randomizes. So like the only one that you don't really like care for is like the crit one. But even then, like if you crit both your Malefic or your Haunt with Shadow Bolt, like I said,
Yeah.
that's like 3 million damage right there.
Yeah.
So I really like that. Going back on it, I don't know if I would change it. I'm currently gearing up a Shadow Priest right now, and I did not craft my weapon. Um, I would say I probably wouldn't because I'm running the ones that proc damage, proc extra damage. I forget what it's called, but it's based off of the gems that you have. So, and that's procking a good amount. So it's doing extra like roddy damage. I would say between those two, like if I were to re-gear a warlock right now, completely level it up, re-gear one, simply because I have two warlocks that have the same gear, I would probably go ahead and do wait for my weapon to come into from the 2,500 conquest earned and all of that, and probably craft those ones that proc off of what gem, and just see how it goes from there. And you can always recraft things and see how it goes. But the Ascendance one, the Ascendance buff, I guess, crafted thing,
Embellishment.
embellishment. Thank you.
Yeah.
That can only go on a weapon. So when I saw that, I'm like, I'm gonna try the weapon. Especially like having a weapon in the first few seasons when no one else did, felt really good.
Yeah.
But I'm still pretty happy with it because it has 100% uptime. You always have it as long as you're in combat. You have 1,780 of some sort of stat, versatility, crit, haste, or mastery. So all four of those and I think that that's a pretty good find, I would say.
That is. I like it. Rolling back to the stats and just some other things. Racials. You mentioned your night elf. It sounded like.
Yes.
I personally I run human because I like double trinket ever since the old days. What's the best though?
I would say Night Elf. 100%. I think
Really?
that yeah, I think that it's between Night Elf and Dark Iron Dwarf. And Orc. I think that Orc has a really good place in the meta too. But with the amount of ferals in the game right now,
That's why Dark Iron.
as of last night, I also saw a big rise in assassination. I don't know what the hell they did to assassination. Maybe it's just because they think that sub's gutted. I played against a few subs. Sub is completely trucking. But assassination, like if you're seeing a lot of assassination, you're seeing a lot of ferals. I would definitely say Dark Iron Dwarf is the way to go. Right now, I think that Night Elf is really good because you have this little like frame where you're kind of immune to damage. Like you can shadow mode a coil, you can shadow mode if you're good enough, you can shadow mode a hodge, you can shadow mode, there's so many things that you can shadow mode, that whether it's damage incoming or if all of a sudden you're like a boomkin or a feral's trying to clone you and you're trying to get the fear off, well you can shadow mode and then he loses his target and then you can fear him and then now he's kind of screwed. So I think that Night Elf is probably number one in my opinion. You also get at nighttime 1% extra haste. At daytime you get 1% extra crit. And then Dark Iron Dwarf being the second. Currently I have a Night Elf and a Orc, and I'm thinking about leveling up my third Warlock. I have 7 Warlocks right now.
Wow.
Not max level, but altogether I do have, because I like to, like I said, I like to theory craft. Oh, what race would be better? I have a Draenei. Like when Aff was really good, I'm like, well, what could be 20% extra heal? Draenei could be good. It was not good.
Nope.
Um, and then Yeah, Dark Iron Dwarf. I've always had a Dark Iron Dwarf or a Dwarf before Dark Iron. And then I think I have a human. I don't really like human. Um, I think human, the only benefit that you have is kind of putting your trinket onto a minute and a half trinket. That's kind of it. Because when you use your human, it puts your other trinket on a minute and a half cooldown. And when you use that trinket, it puts your human on a minute and a half cooldown. I don't see the benefit of being a human. I just don't. A minute and a half really could make or break games in some situations, but it's just, in my opinion, not the best. I could definitely see it maybe as a mage or something with blink stun and then, just permanently not being able to be out of stun. But a lot of people want a gun for ferals, and if I'm playing with a feral and he needs peels, I need to be able to trinket out of the cyclone or the polymorph or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be to start spamming fear and try and help him. And can't really do that as a human. And if you do, then and if you do have a trinket on a human, then I think it's just kind of a waste of a racial, in my opinion.
Oh,
Um,
to be fair, I play Alacrity and Battlemaster, so
okay,
I don't play Medallion. So I just use every man for themselves.
okay, yeah. I mean, I could
I'm
see
not
it
I'm not
like
I'm
it.
not good though. I'm not good. They don't follow me.
No, I could definitely see it being good. Um, with the right comp though. Like if
Yeah.
you're the one being trained 100% of the time, which a little bit lower, everyone
Hmm.
wants to hit the warlock. So, when you're playing shadow play, a lot of the higher end players they go after the priest because they
Yeah.
know like if they can shut down, like they can live through a warlock damage, sure. But if a priest is also free casting, like if a priest is getting trained, he's going to be shut down and damage a lot more than if a warlock's free casting. If a warlock's free casting, he's still going to be doing relatively the same damage.
Hmm.
It's just as simple as that. You're still dotting, you're still getting precog and everything. But if a priest is also free casting on top of a warlock getting trained, you know, it's a lot
Yeah, it is.
harder.
Yes.
Um, so I keep trying to. Do you have, my buddy wants to tune into this. Do you have a link that I could send him
Uh,
by any chance?
bonus roll productions on Twitch.
Okay.
No worries.
Oh,
Uh, so just going. Normally we talk about strategies, talking about different comps.
Mhm.
You kind of spoke to the obviously you're playing some of the meta stuff right now with Feral Lock, but what are actual viable comps? What have you experienced, or what do you theory craft as being both twos and threes?
so in for threes, I mean, Bigmoran, Moran, uh, stated Echo having a lot of um success playing Warlock Rogue. I think that Warlock Rogue is a little less viable the lower you are. I think that it takes a lot of actual like good setup. So I don't consider that being like a good like starter comp. But I do think it is a meta comp. Um, Feral Lock is also a really good one. There are some things that just completely counter it, and like with roguelocks, like you at least have like a saving grace where it's like, okay, if we can just get to this, then we can win. Which Pharaohs have with Incarn, so I can't really say too much. Pharaoh's Incarn is kind of disgusting. um, but
Yes.
uh, I think Shadowplay is very, very viable at this point. Shadowplay, I mean, you see Nas and Nozom playing it with, who's the priest's name? Class Envy. You see them playing it. I just played against Shadowplay last night that completely obliterated me and my Feral at 2600 MMR. Completely obliterated us. Um, Only the second game. First game we won. Second game, they completely obliterated us. Um, so Shadowplay is definitely good, and I would definitely say it's a lot easier to kind of pick up on with being lower. Like if you're a newer, like trying to get into Warlock and everything, I definitely think Shadowplay is a good comp for you. Um, not you, but like your viewers or anything.
I know what you meant.
So Shadow Play is a really good one because it's kind of just like dot run, kind of like that play style you were saying. And then on top of that, there's one more. Oh, Mage Lock. I actually played that with Max Villa and Wolf the other night. I was trying to fix my sleep schedule, so I stayed up for I think it was like 38 hours in total. But out of those 38 hours, we queued for 13 hours and played 83 games of just straight Mage Lock. I played it as Destro, I played it as Demo, and we played some AF as well. And AF was definitely the better variant, but the Mage Lock is a good one because it's kind of just like, yeah, you can either one go for a setup or two you can just go for straight PvE. Damn, either one is good. If you want to go for straight PvE, damn, Mage Lock is a good one, especially now because they just got buffed again with Frostfire Bolt last night. So they absolutely crank right now. It's actually really scary to go against a Frost Mage right now.
Okay, sorry. I was going to ask on that. So when you're talking Mage Lock, you're talking Affliction Frost, not Fire.
No, not Fire. I don't think that Fire has a place in the meta right now.
Okay.
Arcane, the only one that I've seen be able to make Arcane work, and it was only in a shuffle, was Hansel. Hansel is just a menace on Mage though, so can't really base. I think Hansel, I remember watching Hansel as a young kid, and I just remember him doing these duels in Blackrock Mountain, and he refused to play Frost or Arcane. He was Hansel, the Fire Mage, the Fire God, and so I think that he has enough determination to make anything work on Mage, but I think that Frost is definitely the ultimate. Actually, I can't even say that anymore because didn't Arcane just get some insane buffs last night?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't even say that. Previous to this patch, I would say Frost was the only viable spec for Mage.
Fair.
But as of right now, I obviously cannot make a fair assessment.
Sorry to put you on the spot like that. That was
No, that's fine. The only thing that I remember from queuing last night is BM Hunter. That's it. That's all I remember.
Tell the kitty go away. Tell the kitty go away.
Bro, it was miserable. It was completely miserable. Playing against all of those BM Hunters. But we already got off that topic, so we're not going to bring up a sore subject.
Fair enough. All right. I guess we've kind of talked about everything. The one thing that I don't think we've really talked about is how do people kill you? Like, if I go up against you, how do I kill an Affliction Lock other than being a Fury Warrior that you can't get rid of?
Okay, that's a good question. I would say you use your kicks as offensive pressure. Don't use your kicks as defensive pressure. Obviously use your kick if you have a go and you have an opportunity like to kill, use your kick as offensive pressure, because if a Warlock gets kicked, they can cookie, but it's going to be a lot less potent. For one, so that cookie is going to be absolute piss. Number two, they can't wall, and number three, they can't port. So I think a Warlock getting kicked, like if you can butter up a Warlock, right? Butter them up, get them like 60-70%, make them feel comfortable enough to open up their cast bar, and then snipe a kick, and just unload your damage and your pressure out onto them in that time. I think that that's probably the most viable way to kill a Warlock, because they have no escape route, they have no damage reduction, they have Dark Pact, but you're kind of trained to use Dark Pact a little bit, like, I don't want to say on CD, but if you use it low, it's a much less shield. Yeah.
It's not going to save them. So
Yeah, so if you use it at like 50%, it's nothing. So you kind of want to use your dark pact whenever you can, like up at 100% health. So like yes, it's a defensive, but it's kind of like a niche defensive. Like you kind of use it preemptively. Like okay, I see they have a go, happening. All right, let me pre-use it. But like if I'm just going against something that doesn't have like goes and they just straight PvE, I'm pressing that thing on cooldown. And if all of a sudden I'm at 60%, you know, Hunter lands a trap on my healer at the same time he kicks me and then just aim shots me from across the map, I'm probably just gonna die. It's so I would say using kicks offensively. Um,
okay,
Very nice.
thank you.
So to wrap things up, we have a question that we typically ask every guest. And it's if you had unlimited power, unlimited resources to influence one thing within Blizzard or, World of Warcraft, what would you do with all that power and
oh,
influence?
oh man. Um, what I would do, I would probably try to take one of the highest consistent rated players for each of their classes and try to make them a part of a class balancing. I think that the people that know the game the most are the people that play it and have had the highest success in it the most. And I feel like the devs that are currently doing class balancing, sure they may play the game, but do they play it well? So one thing that they think might be OP might not be too OP at a higher end of the ladder. And I think that the best people to determine class balancing would be like the Chanimal of Warlock or the Vanguards of Ret Paladin or the No Guard of Ardruid or the Bigmoran of Ardruid. The people at the top of the ladder of their class, I think that they should have a higher influence, if anything, on class balancing. I think that that's what I would do.
Interesting.
Sweet. Garrissar, what would you do?
I wasn't actually prepared for this one. Uh,
It sneaks up on you, right?
and I write the show notes. You'd think that I would have it. I'm gonna actually pause for a second. I'm gonna throw it back to you, Big. What would you do? I'm gonna think.
Oh,
For a
I want
second.
another solo shuffle tournament. I mean, we have some news about that coming up maybe soon. But anyway, like yeah, I think an official Blizzard solo shuffle tournament would be amazing. I think it's, in my opinion, the most entertaining format for as a viewer for watching PvP, and had a lot of fun with the past one, the past few ones, because there was the one prior to Dragonflight being released. So yeah, I would do another solo shuffle tournament.
Interesting. I'm actually at a loss. I think I'm gonna have to steal from you, Big, and say bring in the sandbox. Give us a sandbox mode to just
Oh
to play
yeah,
in.
that'd be so nice.
God, would it ever?
Yeah, there's so many like also like as a healer, it's really hard to test healing. I know there's the healing dummies, but the problem is you need to be in combat for details to log stuff. So while you're
Yeah.
healing, you have to sort of weave in damage globals on a nearby dummy in order to like see. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
And it'd
Well,
be nice if there was something else.
and the PvP target dummies, they're okay, but they do have bugs. Like they don't register certain tuning. Like some of the
Yeah,
stuff isn't quite right. And
right. Yeah.
I have no idea what the versatility level on the training dummies are.
Yeah, that's
Some
one thing I want to know. Yeah,
yeah
I definitely think they hit harder. I mean, it's a piece of
yeah
wood. You'd think it would
hmm
be. Um,
yeah. Some tells me it doesn't
to
have 23% versatility.
Probably not. To your point, Big Moran, just duel someone, and have a hunter hit you with auto attack, keep you in combat.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Coming in with the smart answers. I love it. Well, let's look at the PvP news and see what other smart answers we've seen in the past few weeks.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
All right. World PvP or Wild PvP news. Blah. So just quickly recapping, AFC Cup number 3 finished back on the 13th of October. As we spoke, Echo, no surprise, won the EU Cup. Welcome to the Jung took first place on that one. And then the one just last weekend, Cup number 4, again, Echo won for EU. And the Move, very surprisingly, rolled the whole way from the lowers all the way back up and ended up winning first place, which was surprising.
It was very surprising. Watching them play against Welcome to the Jung, in the mirror, everyone, I just remember every single time it was kind of a landslide. Like, it was never even like really close. And then everyone saying, well, I think Pika should just go back on the rogue. I think Pika should just go back on the rogue. He grinded out the games. He got #1 solo shuffle world, along with #1 solo shuffle as Feral, obviously, because he got world. So he had to be #1 as Feral. Really like grinding it and trying to adjust to the meta. I think that not only did they deserve that win, but it was also like a really sweet moment seeing, because like, I mean, Drake and Prev, dude, like, they're absolute freaking monsters at whatever they touch. It doesn't matter. I remember when Drake was on Windwalker Monk and he was gapping Trill, the Windwalker god, gapping Trill. So I was so whatever Drake touches, it's just like instant, like one of the best. So seeing them take down Welcome to the Jung was actually a really sweet moment. It made my heart warm, I think, because who can't love the Move?
Well, I think the Jung doesn't love the Move right now because they took the first place. But either way, yeah, amazing games, and you're not wrong. Like, it was crazy watching that comeback. Big. Did you any hot moments there that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, I enjoy watching Thessia play on Mage. Thessia plays like a gangster. It's interesting because I was actually listening to a channel talk about this on stream the other day. Like, typically there's this defensive play style that's sort of predominant on EU. Kind of been that way for many years now. But Thessia sort of breaks that trend. He's very aggressive, almost to the point where it's like a bit reckless. It reminds me of like Jamili from back in the day. And so Thessia is just a blast to watch in these tournaments. I mean, some of these games he's landing these like crazy ice walls, and just doing some incredible stuff. So I always enjoy watching Thessia play.
Did you see that one on I think it was Ashmane's Fall, where he put the ice wall down, literally stood there as like a bodyguard. D beat him, knocked him back, ice nova'd him, poly'd him, and just like, oh my god, that was so beautiful. I loved watching that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Thessia. It's funny that you say, like, refer to him as Jamili, because like, reminded you as Jamili, because I've been doing a lot of solo shuffles against Jamili. Actually just got his tag. I think we plan on queuing sometime soon. He plays so aggressive. It's actually kind of like, it's funny. Like, I'm like, dude, how is this guy allowed to do this right now? And there's some times where he gets bonked on the head and just dies without blocking. But it is when I watch Thessia play like that, it reminded me of Jamili as well. Because Jamili still has that playstyle. I'm gonna tell you what. He's somehow making God Comp work too. I don't know. I played against him as God Comp on Dalaran Sewers, and they damped us out. I'm not gonna lie. We got through both his blocks within the first minute, and then we just couldn't secure the kill. So he definitely has that switch on, like, oh, let me just play defensive. But yeah, back to AWC. Sorry.
No worries.
I like to talk.
This is why that's what it's about. It's a conversation about PvP and the things we love. So it's great. Things that we probably don't love. So I'm going to switch up the show notes just slightly here. The 20th anniversary went live yesterday. The patch hit. today for the EU. So, quick hot takes. I mean, obviously, there's the bug for the hunters we talked about, but are we okay with paladins and the extra number of tools they got? Are we okay with some of the other the changes that have been? Is this going to be another 10.2 or 10.7 that we had back in DF where paladins start running rampant and terrorizing the ladder?
I don't think. I think red is still kind of mediocre.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Go on.
But yeah, I mean, Holy Pally was already the best healer, and then it got better. One thing that's been really frustrating, that I was getting really frustrated at yesterday, is the 0 cooldown on repentance that they have now. Like, it's so hard to mentally keep track of that. You know, it's like normally if you're a healer, you get repped. You're like, okay, I don't have to deal with this for the next 15 seconds, at least. But then it's like now they can rep you back to back, and it's like, oh, that's
Yeah,
kind of annoying. Like, I have to
you're essentially
remember.
giving them a poly. It's very, very strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also agree with Bigmoran. I think that Rep Paladin's still a little bit mediocre. I played against Casca, Yasuke, and Vanguard yesterday, and it felt like they still had no pressure. I think that Yasuke was playing marksman, so I don't know. Like, he didn't one shot us like a BM hunter did. So I don't know if he just like purposely wasn't playing that talent because he's a respectable player, or if he just didn't know about the talent. I don't know. But it felt like they had no pressure. Because as a rep paladin, like you're used to them having like these crazy big burst windows with wings. It didn't feel like it was there at all. It might be because I was playing with an HPAL, but I also, as playing yesterday, I also don't really notice that much of a change in to HPAL. Maybe as a healer you do because you're getting rep spammed and everything like that. And I also don't play with a rogue that's complaining about Sack taking off the poisons or anything like that. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't really notice that much of a change. Like you said, they were the best healer in the game. They're still the best healer in the game with a slight tuning. I I think that they're not going to
And
be running rampant, but they are still good.
I think Ellie is kind of maybe a bit too strong. Like, Ellie doesn't bother me that much. I mean, of course, it's really annoying if you just get one tapped, by a bunch of elemental or overload procs or whatever. But I don't know. I think Ellie. I can see them at the end of this week nerfing Ellie a bit. I could see them nerfing Holy Paladin a bit. And yeah, I mean, Shadow Priest maybe they'll nerf. Oh, I mean, my spec Resto Druid, it definitely feels better. It doesn't feel like exponentially better, but it does. To me, Resto right now is like a very balanced healer. Like, I think it's probably at the power level that most healers should be. But I could see if Holy Pally gets nerfed, I could easily see Druid be
Taking that spot.
Yeah, taking that spot. Like, especially if Druid gets any sort of buff. If they nerf Holy Pally and buff Druid one more time, Druid's probably going to be the meta healer. I could definitely see it.
One thing I've noticed about Resto Druids, actually, let me pick your brain on this. I feel like they flop. I feel like they really just die. Especially if you do like a well-coordinated swap onto them, where you get them into a stun, into a Hodge, into a coil.
Yeah,
Like it feels
I
like
think.
that frenzy nerf kind of hit hard. No.
Well, in solo shuffle, I think it's really hard to die as a Resto Druid. I think that's more of a 3v3 thing. I think Druids kind of suffer with coordinated damage on coordinated swaps onto them. I think they really struggle with. The other problem too is a lot of Druids probably right now have crafted gear with haste and mastery and no versatility. Like, right now, if I log on my character, I have 7% verse. I just play very
Might
low
not want to
verse.
see me in the arena then, bro. I'm on right for you.
So for me, it's not really been an issue surviving. I think I've died one time this season in solo shuffle. But it's like you you trinket trank, and it's like you don't really, if you trade well in a druid in solo shuffle, you're fine. But yeah, on threes, definitely can flop, especially if there's like a sub rogue. Anything that can sort of coordinate a setup. That's when you tend to struggle.
Yeah, I could see like solo shuffle definitely being a lot easier because you're not playing against these coordinated teams where they're like trying like calling out over the headset like, oh hey, let's make a swap on the druid. Do you have stuns? Do you have a coil? Do you have these things to kind of lock it down? Solo shuffle, I mean, anytime I've played against an R druid, they just sit in the back and dispel my UA on CD, and it's great. I love it.
Yep, exactly.
Nice. I just want to point out one other neat little thing. Obviously, there's a bunch of class stuff, but for those who are solo queue and blitz lovers, you'll notice that you'll now see your personal MMR on the list, which is interesting because obviously we were having some issues with MMR recently throughout this first season, and now some people are seeing the fact that some of the ups and downs that are actually happening, like what a person started off with their personal MMR and where it's ending up, which is also raising some more questions about how MMR is being calculated. I think I saw earlier somebody say they were in Blitz and there was a 2K something player in a 1700 lobby and they lost and they didn't lose any MMR, which was weird. You'd think that they would, but
Yeah.
hey, so I think it's neat is letting helping players understand, seeing what's happening so then they can understand things. But like anything, it's raising some more questions. So we'll see what happens. I just want to point out there was a hot fix that dropped yesterday as well. This was around the Death Knight, so both Blood and Frost got some nerfs, which seems weird considering I don't think Frost deserved the nerfs. And
Frost is like the #1 Mythic Plus spec right now, like by a big margin. Like as far as the rank and the competition for rank 1 and Mythic Plus is like overwhelmingly Frosty. Like they are the holy paladin of Mythic Plus, or they're the feral druid of Mythic Plus right now for melee DPS. So I think that's why that happened.
Okay. Still though, like that hurts. It does say some of them does not apply to PvP combat, but
yeah,
it still feels a bit much. Obviously, then arcane mages they also got a few reductions as well, trying to tune them in a little bit. So that speaks back to the buffs that they got with the 20th anniversary. Just as a reminder as well, with the 20th anniversary, if anybody wants, there isn't really much for PvP other than Korak's Revenge, so you probably have to do a bunch of PvE stuff to earn the currency.
Speaking of, I was just browsing Reddit during this call, and someone posted a screenshot from Korak's Revenge, and a healer did 1 billion healing, and it showed up on the scoreboard as 1B. I've never seen like 1 billion in World of Warcraft on anything. I mean, that's pretty funny.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you want to play, I think the Korak's Revenge is like the Alteric Valley with the NPCs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if you wanna do some big scoreboard damage, go queue that. You can get 1 billion apparently, which is pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
That's
I might have to give that a
nuts.
shot. I want to see a 1B.
Yeah,
giant B.
1B. It just looks so funny on the scoreboard. You see like 400 M. You're like, oh, that's a lot. And then you see 1B. You're like, oh my god.
Oh my lord. Yeah.
That's a big B.
That's a big B indeed.
So I think that's about it. MMO. I think. Well, I don't know if that's going to be fixed now. Now that it really got fixed, now there's some inflation being added, and we heard about this. It got implemented yesterday. I'm not sure. I can't say this is fixing things. Is putting in the Band-Aid that should have been added in a while ago. Do you think Do you guys think this is going to bring back players that have walked away, either new players who were, struggling to get past rank 1s in 1500, or players that are normally 2K struggling to get past 1600? Do you think they're kind of come back, or do you think they basically logged off, cancel their subs, and they're done for this season?
I think that you can never count out the people that have stopped. I think that it can be very frustrating at the very beginning of an expansion or even a season where, you are usually at this rating and now you feel like you've lost all of your skill and all of this because you're not quite understanding that, there is such thing as inflation, there is such thing as MMR. I think that people will come back. I think it'll just be a matter of time. I don't think that they're gonna, oh hey, MMR is fixed, inflation's, up. Now everyone's gonna, come back. I don't think it's gonna be like that. I think give it another week, 2, maybe 3, and people will start coming.
Okay.
Especially the people that because I know there's a lot of people that even around like 2.5 or 2250 and like 2.3 that aren't really playing because they're I just want to log in, get my glad, and log out. I think that those people are going to be coming back a lot faster than the lower end of people. So I think that with that, that's also going to increase inflation a little bit faster as well. I think that in order for inflation to actually work and as intended, everyone all throughout the leaderboard needs to be active. So
It was pretty crazy though, experiencing the inflation as it was happening yesterday. I almost all my lobbies were 3-3s. But I gained rating in every single one of them, which is really cool. I was gaining rating and MMR going 3-3 every single time. It was that felt really, I was like, damn, I'm gonna queue some more, it felt nice.
I got that 6-0 and didn't get any rating, so I logged out. I didn't do anymore. I was like, no. Yeah, that was very frustrating to me because I'm like, well, what happens if I go 06 and lose all my rating?
Yeah, that's a risk. That's a big risk.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I hope you're right. I hope it does bring back the players. Honestly, I hope this has happened earlier. I wish that they'd implemented this and not wait until they finished their and launched this 20th anniversary. I can only imagine how busy the devs must have been that they couldn't even acknowledge or fix PvP. They were all focused on this patch, so it sucks.
It does.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Flogging a dead horse otherwise. Lord knows there's enough stuff in the WoW community echo chamber about when they think things should happen. So I don't think we need to carry on that too much. Last couple items. If you guys do the world PvP quests, but the Sparks quest, the get 100 Sparks and get a bunch of usually some bloody tokens and some stuff. So it's been bugged for a while. The last 2 weeks or last 3 weeks maybe. When if you logged out, it would drop the quest and it would reset.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't keep the history of how many sparks you had. So you had to do the 100 in one sitting, or you lost it. That might have been fixed. I'm still waiting for some confirmations. Chat is debating themselves on whether it's been fixed or not. So if anybody knows, tweet at us, let us know. Happy to hear. But yeah, we'll say it's in the air, but it might be fixed. Hopefully, might be just the one zone that's fixed and the other ones aren't. Who knows? And just as another little piece of news, not totally PvP related, but Warcraft Radio, our sister or our umbrella organization, now called Bonus Roll Productions, but Warcraft Radio started just before World of Warcraft launched. So technically, the organization has been around for 20 years. So a little congratulations to them.
Nice.
So started with Atlas and doing back in the days of IRRC and some janky. I don't know how he did it. I don't even know how you did it. How do you do that back in the early 2000s. That must have been hard. But kudos to him for figuring it out, and look where it is now. So that's about it. Quick, before we go into outro, I'm going to start with you, Dirty. Anybody you want to shout out, or any shout outs you want to make before we go into the outro?
I just want to thank my family, thank God. No, I mean, yeah, I do want to thank God because it gives me life every single day. But shout out to they're probably not watching, but shout out to my my H-Pal Thorian. Shout out to Crunchyroll, my Feral Druid. Those are the homies. And we're
Love
gonna
it.
make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. Whether we gotta queue up 76 games in 13 hours for that rank 1 title, we're gonna make it happen. Uh, that rank 1 title has been avoiding me for far too long, and I need it under my belt. But yeah, shout out to my partners, I guess.
That's awesome. I look forward to seeing rank 1 Dirty.
Dirty
That's like
Dog.
that's the ultimate Dirty.
Yeah. Forged Gladiator Dirty Dog.
Love it.
Pretty cool one.
Love it. Big. Anybody you want to shout out?
Shout out to Gregors on the Skill Cap
Yeah.
Discord for always being quite active and helping people out. Gregors usually gives really detailed answers to people's questions, and I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. Gregors is also fairly active in our Discord for our show. Everyone, he hops in there. I'd say he's more active over on Skill Cap, but I think that's because Skill Cap is just more active to begin with. So, but yeah, actually, apparently his family was quite ill recently, so he was having to take care of them. So, but apparently they're on the mends, so good for that.
Nice.
I am going to shout out Dr. Sunny Duttagupta, who over on Twitter, every once in a while we have some interactions, and we've gone into DMs and that, and so some great interactions just talking about from an RPGer perspective where we're at right now for the War Within and stuff. And he was the one that informed me that the RBGers, now they finally got their seasonal Hero of the Horde or Hero of the Alliance titles that showed up in Dragonflight Season 3, Season 4. Apparently those were feats of strength, and so they went away when the season ended, and they can't reuse the titles, unlike
That's so weird.
rank ones.
Yeah.
It seems like a little problematic. So
yeah.
So kudos cheers to them to reaching out to me, and the good conversations, but also some great information as well. So hopefully that gets fixed sometime with for the zero devs that actually listen to this. But who knows? All right. Last but not least, Dirty. I know you said at the beginning you don't really stream or anything anymore, but is there anywhere anybody can get a hold of you if they have some burning questions about Afflocks or anything like that, or even Elemental, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I believe it or not, I've actually I got Glad. I've gotten old school Glad on Arsham, old school Glad on Rogue. I've gotten Glad on Ardruid, HPL, Ellie. But
Dude,
I like to play everything. Like,
yeah.
my biggest thing is, like, I like to play classes that I don't really understand, so then I get a better grasp of it, and then I end up falling in love with it. Some people say it's bottom, but like I need to for me, like, oh man, how is this guy completely nuking me? Oh, well, now I can look at, oh, this guy has this type of proc, or how can I completely shut down this guy? So I play it all. Like, I know a good amount of stuff about each class. Right now I have the 2 Warlocks, the 2 Ellies, and like 10 other classes. So I like to play it all. I like to learn it so then I can become a better player myself. So if you want to contact me, you can get a hold of me. My Discord is Dirty1. So the name that you see on the screen in front of you, or if you're listening through the podcast, it's DIIRT1. One as in the number one. Feel free to add me. I've there back when I played Shaman, a lot of people ask me, how can I play Shaman? I have one buddy who I helped out, completely free, no gold needed, nothing like that. Gave him a lot of tips, and I think Dragonflight Season 3, he finally got his first gladiator on Elisham. So, I'm willing to help. I'm definitely not one of those people that are like, oh, what's in it for me? Like, I want to make this community healthy. I want to make this community active. And most of all, I want to keep playing the game that I love for years to come, and can't really do that if you have a toxic community. So if anyone needs help, by all means, reach out, and definitely willing to give some help.
That's very awesome of you. No lie. It's I feel there's a lot of people in WoW that are like that, but it's overshadowed by the people that are trying to eke out money out of every aspect of the game.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, there was this one guy, like, I'm not gonna put out any names out there, but I was like, hey man, like we should queue sometime. He has a rank 1 title from like, you know, Shadowlands, and you look him up and he's only been glad since. Um, and I hit him up. I'm like, hey, we should queue sometime. I love Pharaoh Aff. We should, give it a shot. And he's like, well, I don't play for fun, so hit me up on Discord. I'm like, okay, what the fuck does that mean? I fucking hit him up. He's like, yeah, it's $35 an hour to play with me. I was like, you're a tweak, dude. Like, I'm literally higher rating than you right now. Just like go,
Wow.
like you chill out. But because people get that rank 1 title and they immediately think like everyone should pay to play with them. It's like, no, dude, I'm trying to play and enjoy my time. I'm not, and like, this is a passive thing for me that like I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I don't know why people have to try and exploit people for money. Like, if you, to me, like and that's just like it advertise a very toxic community, and I don't appreciate that. I don't like that.
No,
So anything I can do to help, yeah, reach out. 31.
appreciate that. I appreciate you for sure.
Yeah, appreciate you as well.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me on.
Big. Do you want to roll it out?
Yes. So if you liked our show and you want to contact us, you can do so with a tweet to @technically_PvP or by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on the Bonus Roll Productions Discord. Also, you can visit the Bonus Roll website to find the podcast directory with us and many other great shows at bonusroll.gg. This directory also has a review system, so head over there and tell everyone what you think about your favorite shows.
Indeed. And as always, links for everything that we talked about are going to be in the show notes. I want to thank you all for listening, and we'll chat with you next time. Good night, everybody.